Hi, this is Danny Ryan, and this is the Three Will Podcast. This is the first of 2016.
Woo.
So we're getting the new year started off, and I thought to start it off the right way. So I have asked Tommy to join me. Thanks for joining me this morning, Tommy.
Thanks for having me, Danny.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we talked about last year for a while, we did some podcasts for the Three Will Podcast, and we tried out, we did some stuff for the App Exchange, getting to learn about some new apps. One of my favorite things to do, go learn about what new apps that are out there. And we talked about wanting to do a podcast on more of a regular basis this year. So getting together, maybe like it's Thursday morning, maybe talking together every Thursday morning on topics that are near and dear to us. And I know one of the reasons why we started the company was we love to create these applications that large groups of people work together on, and really creating collaboration apps. And so that's something that's very near and dear to our hearts. We also just have always been in the Microsoft space. It's just been one of those things that we've sort of grown up with and have always tried to build up a deep competency with. And so one of the things we were talking about was starting up an Office 365 podcast. That was one of the ideas that we had out there, and just sort of cover the apps that were in the Office store. And that's sort of, it's coming along. It's not quite as far along as the App Exchange, but there are some apps that are coming out there. And that was one of the ideas that we had. And that's maybe still something that we end up covering every once in a while. But we also talked a little bit about, and last week I know we got together for a little while and talked about interviewing some of the Atlanta sort of innovative leaders that are out there, and maybe get to have a conversation with some of our customers and sort of some of the things that they're doing. What does it mean to them to work together better, or enterprise collaboration, or how to innovate, and having some of those discussions. So what I wanted to do in this podcast in particular is just have an open conversation with you about sort of what do we want to do in 2016? What are some of the areas where do we want to explore? What sort of topics do we want to go after for this year, and sort of have an open conversation about that. And I really want it to be something that, something that you and I, if you just sat us together in a room, that we would want to talk about, some of those topics. And so let me open it up with that. I know we keep on, over the years, very early on, we talked about this theme of work together better, which really, work together comes from the Latin of the colare, which is that working together, which is where collaboration comes from. So it's been really one of those important things to us, and I think how do we do that better is really what we've been focusing in on through the years. So any thoughts? What are your sort of initial thoughts that you have about, getting together on Thursday mornings and talking through it, and, having a conversation with your little bro?
Yeah.
what's some thoughts?
All game for that.
That's
I
great.
think what's very interesting, naturally as a company, as we've done things like webinars and blog posts and presentations, it really is anchored around technology.
Mm-hmm.
And as a company, where the name Three Will came from. I was just talking to someone yesterday, said, where does that name come from? Very common thing that comes up. And the three comes from people, process, and technology.
Mm-hmm.
And early on we said, we need to have the right balance between those three. So what I'm looking forward to is really having that balance around people, process, and technology. And if you think about work together better, there's a process element to that.
Yeah.
To work together better is creating the right amount of structure, but the right amount of freedom to allow better outcomes in conversations and getting work done.
Mm-hmm.
There's a people aspect to that. Work together better.
Who's working together? Yeah.
Who's
working together?
Working together better. So, And of course, technology plays into that. We're always looking at that next shiny new thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at Slack now and comparing that to Yammer and comparing that to Office 365 groups.
Well, there's a good topic for a podcast right there.
Definitely. We could have a couple on that problem. And so, that work together better theme I like.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out to talk to other people about how they innovate in the space of collaboration is very interesting.
Yeah.
I think you end up coming up with your own paradigm for what is work together better.
Yeah.
And what we like about being a consulting organization is we're not looking at it just one way. We're working on several projects, and we've got that kind of ADD that this is a great way to do it, but there might be a better way. So getting on to another project, you can attack that better way. So talking to other people that might not be our customers or they're our customers allows us to open our minds to new ways of thinking about working together better.
Yeah, you almost have this within a consulting company. You have this dynamic of talking about how do we work together better internally as a team, and then how do we work together better with a client involved.
Right.
And so you have and there are sort of different things, aspects we can focus in on. How do you do better internal collaboration? How do we go after that? And then there's also how do you when you're working with a client, they don't need to see everything you're doing.
Right.
They need effective decision making points that they can make. They've outsourced it for a reason because they don't have the internal capacity to go after this. So how do you work together with someone who is looking for an outside firm to help you out?
Right. And it's interesting. That's a challenge. We create very nice extranet that we work with our clients, and we get varied use. We have some where they're in there and they're working in the backlog. They're looking at the charts on the extranet, getting to the documents, and actually joint collaboration around editing some of those documents. But some, rely on email or, some interactions that come through, daily stand-ups or sprint reviews. And you almost have to have a little bit of everything and tune it to, what works in their daily routine. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're trying to stretch our customers just one more step in the direction of, better and that work together. That there might be some other ideas, but then we don't know if they work until we try them. But having a tactful way to say, how do we try to help our customer but not burden our customer?
Yeah.
There's a healthy tension there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. I think it's wonderful to hear you bring back up the people, process, technology, because I could see in this podcast sort of every once in a while having a podcast that maybe is more process oriented, every once in a while having a more technology related podcast, or maybe the format is we spend a little bit on each of the podcasts. Maybe we have like a segment on each. And have something we cover within each of those. I don't know. I'm pretty open to sort of how do we want to, and also I believe in the process of letting this sort of unfold. And it really just starts with you and I just having some conversation, taking some time out to have some conversations. I'm sure some of these early ones nobody's going to be listening to, but that's fine. Over time, we'll sort of find what are the things that people are getting a reaction from people about. And it may be some of these things, like you mentioned earlier, some timely topics, like there may be a lot of people who are saying, okay, I just heard what's happened to the Yammer, or the customer service folks, or the CSEs, or whatever. CSMs, I'm sorry. And I may be saying, well, what is the future of Yammer? Do I want to start to look at Slack? And maybe some very timely discussions about that. And what I would love to have, an ideal thing for me, is the conversation branches out beyond just you and I and us getting some people posting some stuff up after we put it up on the website. We get some comments about it, maybe some other people, some other viewpoints on things. I would love to get to see, doing improv. And one of the wonderful things about improv was you look for disagreements. You love it because people are taking a stance, that people believe in something. So even hearing from people about something they may disagree with us about, or have an alternative viewpoint. I think it'd also be, I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold here. I think it would also be nice to maybe pull in someone from Three Will every once in a while to have them cover a topic. I may, just to keep things going, I've got the goal for this year to have everyone do at least one blog post per quarter. And some of those people are opting to do a podcast, which is counting as one of those blog posts. Thank you. All right, let me hit my head. Keep moving. Come on. Another sip of coffee, everybody. Here it goes. Another sip of coffee. So we'll have some of those that I'll do. You'll be alongside with me, or I'll just do along with them. But maybe keep it in the same. Some of those will be more. It's been interesting to see because Bruce has done more process oriented, as you would imagine, being our director or VP of delivery, excuse me. Right. And the other ones have been more technical.
Sure.
I've got Kirk talking about some technology subjects, but maybe a lot of this, sticking with the overarching theme of enterprise collaboration, work together better, people, process, technology. Let's go in that direction.
Yeah. I think the challenge is we want to have a good connection of our passions and our disciplines as an organization, but how does that play into solving the world's problems? Because that's what a business is about, is getting connected, in ways that you can bring your talents to bear. And so when we're thinking about people and process technology, think about how does that play into work together better. And I think that, the technology pieces, people are looking at better build processes, using the right tools, making sure it's future proof. That's all about, there's a lot of better, in there. And, the process, I think, is an area of, let's have a routine, because we all need routines in place. So, what are those routines that make us more effective? And that's, something that you can put in place that's more the science of, doing what we do. Yeah. And then the people aspect is, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. Yeah. Everybody knows that deep down. And we sometimes get lost in the details of process and technology. You don't realize that at the end of the day, these are to solve problems for people and helping that collaborative experience take place. So, having all of those and trying to keep those in balance. Our early Three Will logo we had as the Venn diagram, where we overlapped and said we want to focus on the intersection of those three disciplines: people, process, and technology. Yep. And we almost made our logo that, because
it looked like the biohazard.
Said it looked like a biohazard sign. So we thought that might be a very positive vibe to give as a company logo.
Stay away from this company.
They're a hazard to your health.
Touch ya.
But so the whole topics around people, process, technology underneath the theme of work together better. Yeah. And for us to reach out, that not just to have it Three Will people, but have other people involved in that. I think that would be very exciting for 2016.
And there's an aspect of that as well that I know, like on the website, we sort of break out the different industry solutions, the different department solutions. I think it'd be nice too, just to sort of to get what does collaboration mean in different industries? Because I think there's a certain dynamic to, you worked in more of like when you were at Siemens, more the manufacturing. What is collaboration in that type of environment? And and I'd like to get more of an aspect of that, whether it be from learning a little bit about maybe some projects that we've done and learning what was a little different about how did we set up the collaboration, to talking to some customers about how is when we say work together better, how's that different in your industry from other industries? Help us to understand that. Because there's some where, there's some industries where there isn't free-flowing sharing of information, and there's some industries
or most.
I should say most. And then there's complexities we know with some of our clients, like who are in financial services, where
right.
You've got every little thing is audited, and every little thing what you say is. Right. Your job is on the line with each response that you have.
Right.
And
definitely needs to be tuned.
Definitely needs to be tuned per industry. Maybe I'd love to learn more about how is it different per industry, and we'll wrap up here. But also I'd love to take in the aspect of we're here in Atlanta, Georgia, and maybe focus in on some of the companies that are here in the Atlanta area.
Sure.
And just sort of take out I think maybe in the South we're a little more open. We're a little bit more. I think there's a certain characteristic to collaboration. When you walk down the street and you see someone else and you're in Atlanta, often the person will say hello.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain openness that I think is involved in business that sort of I think will characterize as well the fact that you and I want to get together and sort of share what's going on in our heads with regards to this. We want this to be an open, and that's very much part of collaboration. Is this willingness to share what's going on in your head with other people. I think I want to have that as part of our podcast as well. So this is great. This was exactly what I was looking for just sort of an open conversation about the podcast. This helps me also get to go in a certain direction, maybe setting up some topics for next week, some things that you and I can start to get mulling on as far as what we would want to talk about. I don't want to put a whole lot on you as far as things that you need to go research. I want to talk about the things that are just happening day to day, right. And also have it be a certain amount of a certain amount of this happened to me yesterday. And it's funny you bring that up, and those types of conversations as well, where it's really sort of timely. It's what's happening to you right now.
You just don't want to do improv at work. Is that it?
I want to do improv at work. You've got it.
I'd rather come into this that we prep for the topic in 5-10 minutes, and then it's more free flowing. It's not very not very pre-thought, more of an open flow of exchange of ideas.
Because I think people want to be a part of it, listen in on those types of conversations, I believe as well.
Right.
They don't want to have something, they don't want to, Three-Wall consulting company, why would ever listen to podcasts? Because they're just going to promote their services.
Right.
No, I don't want this more to be what's going on. You get to hear a little bit inside the minds of the co-founders of the company. What are they dealing with on a day-to-day basis? And even hearing back from everybody listening about how we can do what we do better.
Right. That would be interesting.
Be wonderful to have. So thank you, everybody. I guess to wrap this up, obviously, please look at subscribing to our podcast. This will be up on iTunes and Stitcher, and please also SoundCloud as well. Mm-hmm. If you want to drop by our website, it's threewill.com. You'll spell the number 3 and then WILL.com, and drop by there for more. Put a lot of blog posts talking about sharing openly. We really try to be aggressive about sharing information about what we're learning internally with other folks. Drop by there. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/threewill. Would love for you to join us there. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com, and our handle is Threewill as well. So thank you, Tommy, for taking the time to do this. Look forward to talking to you again next Thursday. No prep for it. I know you'll be excited about that because you are a very busy man. I don't need to slow you down right now. And thanks everybody for taking the time to listen, and we look forward to interacting with you more in the future. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.